to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of the light. That was the true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 6 through 9.
If you're spending hard-earned money on supplements, you need to know about BioSuperfood because you're probably shortchanging yourself on nutrition and value. If you're buying products claiming to provide DNA protection from radiation, you're getting ripped off by inferior copycat products because there's no other product developed or researched like BioSuperfood. BioSuperfood is one complete superfood product that addresses radiation poisoning, allergies, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, and other degenerative diseases. BioSuperfood helps digestion, decreases pain and inflammation, increases flexibility, improves heart health and brain function. It boosts your immune system and even inhibits the AIDS virus in cancerous cells. It's an antibacterial, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory. BioSuperfood is not another supplement. It's a whole food and contains over 5,000 nutrients. Call now and ask about your special discounts on your BioSuperfood purchase at 303-257-7576. That's 303-257-7576 or biosuperfood@hotmail.com.
All right, Cody, stop the music, please. Stop the music. Stop the music. My friends, listen to this. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline Phoenix. Investigators for an Arizona sheriff's volunteer posse have declared that President Barack Obama's birth certificate is definitely fraudulent. Members of Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio's posse said in March that there was probable cause that Obama's long-form birth certificate released by the White House in April 2011 was a computer-generated forgery. Now Arpaio says investigators are positive it's fraudulent. My friends, I'm going to take you to the recorded press conference. Here's Sheriff Arpaio in his own words. Listen.
We simply ask right now that you put your preconceived notions.
He's being introduced, and he's going to step forward and tell you what they had to find, what they found. Listen.
Here's Sheriff Arpaio.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As you know, 250 citizens of this valley, this state, came to me, asking me as the head of a law enforcement agency to look into President Obama's birth certificate as released by the White House in April of 2011 on the official White House website, as we suspect it is a fraudulent document. My original intent was to clear the President of the United States, but the investigation initiated by our cold case posse found far too many problems on the birth certificate. So in March of this year, I asked the cold case posse to investigate this matter. We reported at that time, actually we asked 6 months prior to that, but in March we reported our initial results of that 6-month investigation. We found that there was probable cause to suspect the long-form birth certificate presented by the White House was fraudulent. You will also recall that we looked into the President's Selective Service form, and we believe that that form is fraudulent. This continuing investigation has uncovered new information that deepens our concern that the birth certificate document is a forgery. In the process, we have uncovered other serious concerns you will hear about today, which should be interest on a national level. The cold case posse has worked hard, long hours, high-end U.S. government agency. And Mike, here's Mike Zullo, the chief investigator.
All right, we're not going to listen to Mike Zullo, the chief investigator. The ramifications are massive, my friends. The first thing this means is that Barack Obama is not President of the United States. According to the Constitution, you have to be born in the United States in order to legally hold office. And the White House website long-form birth has now been found to be fraudulent. It's a fake, according to Sheriff Arpaio, according to his investigators. My friends, if you think they get up on television and throw around half-baked charges, they don't. His reputation, his job, his career is on the line. They've been investigating this a very long time, and you can tell that the powers that be are afraid because they've done everything, as he said, to stonewall him. That's just the first thing it means. Number two, it means Barack Obama's a criminal for foisting this fraudulent candidacy and presidency on America if Sheriff Arpaio is right. Number three, if he's right, it means he had to have had accomplices, powerful accomplices, people who could stretch their invisible hands all over the country, come up with fraudulent documents, pressure people in government positions all across America to foist this forgery known as President Barack Obama on America. If Sheriff Arpaio is right, we are looking at a real, live, breathing conspiracy right in front of us to co-opt the United States government by putting a Manchurian candidate in the White House. If Sheriff Arpaio is right, we've got a traitor in the White House and a cabal of traitors colluding to put a Manchurian candidate in the White House. Now, for those of you who will simply wave your hands and say, oh, come on, what's the difference? He's been in office 3 years now, let's just move forward. No, we won't move forward. We won't move forward. Because if Barack Obama is an illegal president, then nothing he's done has been legal, and it needs to be undone, and we cannot move forward until justice is done. I've said to you in the past, I have high regard for Sheriff Arpaio. He believes laws should be enforced. Now, I realize that's kind of gone out of vogue these days. People tend to think that laws are like parents. Yeah, whatever you say, I'm going to do what I want. If Barack Obama was not born in the United States, and if he's not legally able to be the United States president, I want jail cells filled. I want him and his cronies. I want the big shots who created him, who nurtured him. I want the puppet masters in jail. This conspiracy goes not only to the highest level of our government, it goes well beyond that, to the people who arranged the building blocks of what we call our government, the people who really set the policies. This goes all the way to the top. This is the conspiracy of all conspiracies. Justice needs to be done because America can't go forward until it is. If we have an ineligible man in the White House, the government machinery must grind to a halt, and we must fix it before we can ever go forward. This is Real Truth, and we'll be right back.
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescents to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188.
The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath.
Folks, welcome back to Real Truth. Thomas Paine was born on January 29, 1737. He died on June 8, 1809. He was an English-American political activist, political theorist, and theologian. As the author of two highly influential pamphlets at the start of the American Revolution, he became one of the founding fathers of the United States. And now, my friend, here is Thomas Paine talking to us about the election of 2012.
America is disintegrating in front of your eyes, and you have one last chance to stop it. Election day, November 6, 2012, is all about the economy, stupid. No, it's not. Not this time. It is the final battle in a 50-year bloodless civil war for the very soul of this nation. You have reached the point of no return, embracing failed ideologies that have pushed this nation to the edge of an abyss. You have allowed the soft-brained disciples of failure to put lipstick and rouge on insanity and call it social justice. Socialism over capitalism, multiculturalism and diversity over the common bond, one out of many, leaving us now just the many, hopelessly divided. The new slavery of welfare dependence over personal responsibility, ignoring historical fact. When you allow government or anyone to do for you what you should be doing for yourself, you lose your freedom. The walking roadkill of political correctness, marching under the guise of progressivism, directs a school board in Ohio to order a local principal to tell a 12-year-old student he cannot ride to school with an American flag on his bicycle because it offends certain minority sensibilities. Wake up, America! You cannot keep denying your own essence as a nation and expect to survive. Now the good news. You have wisely given all your non-representing representatives approval ratings below cancer and the bubonic plague. 3 out of 4 of you say the government is completely out of touch with the majority in the middle. Where there is no consent of the governed, that's you, there is no government. The social contract is broken. This government can no longer act collectively for the common good. At the most critical tipping point in our history, we the people, you alone, are in total control. Act like it. Rise up all over this nation and take charge of the national debate. Do the impossible. Rise above politics and policies. Abandon your labels and overwhelm this process with a demand for common sense and reason. Everything else has failed. Demand solutions for the problems tearing us apart at the core of our being. Start with the single most life or death cultural and economic urgency this nation faces. Both the educational and the income gap between the rich and the poor is widening, establishing a permanent underclass lost in a satanic cycle of drugs, debt, dependence, and family dissolution. Mr. Presidential Candidate, when 53% of Americans pay taxes, so 47% can pay none. How much more redistribution of wealth do we need? Do we keep on feeding failure until a shrinking minority of the haves support the increasing majority of the have-nots? Or do you have a specific, new, bold idea how to take millions of the physically able, non-working poor and give them a chance at self-esteem and self-sufficiency by allowing them to be productive rather than condemning them to be parasitic and vegetative? widening poverty, failed education. For 40 years, the taxpayer has thrown more money at both these disasters than all the other nations combined, and it has failed miserably. Is it not common sense and reason to find a candidate who has bold new solutions and the iron will to make them happen? On Election Day, November 6, 2012, you must vote to stop living the lie of failed leftist ideologies, leading us down the path of catastrophic moral, cultural, and material self-destruction. We are at war with ourselves. We are now the disunited states of America, poised to step into the voting booth and disregard the common good, press the button of our own self-interest, our political label, our ethnic, racial, and what's in it for me button, and it will be the final nail in the coffin of the American Republic. The harder right is to ask yourself, who is the candidate who will answer the call of history, turn his back on politics, and become the statesman for all the people? The candidate who understands all that we are and all that we can be in restoring the pride without arrogance, the awesome responsibility without question of our undeniable exceptionalism that we chose as our fate when we declared all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. It is a terrible burden we claim for all people yearning to be free, but it is the faith that makes us American. On Election Day, November 6, 2012, you must press the button for the candidate who does not deny that exceptionalism, who does not apologize for it, but understands it is the gift that allows all people to begin the world over again. Get that message to the 33% of Americans who call themselves independents, to the 80.5 million eligible voters in the I don't give a damn crowd who didn't vote in 2008. Become part of turning out the greatest number of voters in our history and make sure they understand to vote as if their way of life depended on it. Because it does. We, the people, have never failed our country when it was under attack. And we will not now. Vote or die. My name is Thomas Paine. May God bless America.
Thank you very much, Mr. Payne. I am gratified that you were able to come back from the dead to speak to us. My friends, laughter is one thing, but what this guy says, he's dressed like Thomas Paine, is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Go to my Facebook page. You'll find this video. Watch it. Listen to it. Send it to everybody you know. It is required hearing. Item from Stand for Israel blog. 18 years ago today, terrorist bombs ripped through the Argentina-Israelite Mutual Association building in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Argentina is home to the largest Jewish population in South America. The attacks killed 85 people and injured hundreds more. It was later determined that the attacks were orchestrated by Iran and carried out by one of Iran's proxies, the Hezbollah terrorist group. Fast forward to the present. Today, a bus carrying Israeli tourists was bombed in Bulgaria, which had for months been on the Israeli government's radar as the possible site for a terrorist attack against Israeli targets. The jury's still out on the perpetrator of this attack, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has accused Hezbollah terrorist sponsor Iran. Whether today's attack was meant to coincide with the anniversary of the Buenos Aires attack remains to be seen. Really, it's irrelevant. What matters is that the world begin to understand the seriousness of this threat. The measure Israel takes for its securities are not frivolous or arbitrary. They're taken for reasons that are quite literally deadly serious. What matters is that we begin to understand, as Israel does, that there is no placating terrorist groups like Hezbollah or terrorist promoting nations like Iran that are driven by an ideological hatred. They will attempt to strike again, and occasionally, tragically, despite the best efforts of security forces, they will succeed. Unquote. My friends, I see no reason to expect additional attacks from Iran if the United States, Israel, and the West were to follow my advice and decimate that country, which is the sponsor of so much terrorism in the world. They have been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity for years. They are still in the thick of the terrorism web that spans the entire globe. They're threatening a nuclear holocaust against Israel, against the West. They are impudently thumbing their noses at the United Nations and the United States, which is telling them to stop with the nuclear program. They are on a plan of global jihad. I say enough. It's time to take them out. Time to take them out. I'm not talking about surgical strikes to try and pinpoint the nuclear reactors or missiles. I'm talking about devastating Iran. I'm talking about ending the major funding source for terrorism on earth. I'm talking about sending a message like a bolt from heaven to the jihad world that says, no! No! There will be no global conquest for Islam. There will be no global jihad, because if you attempt it, you will die. Like Iran died. My friends, we're a pretty lazy generation. We've had it very soft. Very, very soft. How many generations of human beings throughout history have not had to serve in the military? We have an all-volunteer military. We have the highest standard of living in the history of the world. We're lazy. Well, we're paying for that. We're paying for it. Because evil is on the march, and we're not doing anything except maybe keeping track of which Kardashian is getting married this week. We're watching a lot of TV, we're watching a lot of sports, we're playing with our video games, and evil is watching and plotting and killing. My friends, there's a concept in the Bible, someone called a shomer, S-H-O-M-E-R. A shomer is a sentry or a guard or a lookout. And God speaks to one of the prophets, I think it was Ezekiel, correct me if I'm wrong, and said, son of man, you will be a shomer. The shomer's job is to stand watch and look and see when a threat is approaching and to warn the people. It says in the Bible, if the shomer warns the people and they do nothing, then the fault falls on the people themselves. But if the shomer is derelict in his duty, if he doesn't scan for danger, if he doesn't warn people about it, then he is responsible. Well, my friends, the reason I've been doing this show for nearly 4 years is that I've undertaken the role of shomer. Whether it's the extraordinarily powerful and rich, whether it's the scum-sucking global jihadists, whether it's too big government, whether it's taser-happy cops, I am here as a shomer to warn the world. Because after all, you can listen to this show on the internet anywhere on planet Earth. I am here to serve as a shomer, as a guard, as a sentry. And I'm warning you as loudly as I can. The forces of evil have gathered. They are arming themselves with weapons of mass destruction. The funding source is Iran. As long as we remain lazy, as long as we've got better things to do, the forces of evil gather strength. And they get bolder. And they get more aggressive. And they get hungrier for power. And they believe God is on their side in their campaign of destruction. And they get harder to stop. We need to draw a line in the sand. We need to draw it with our own weapons of mass destruction. It needs to be a line that cuts across the patch of real estate that today we call Iran. We need to have a steaming pile of rubble where Tehran used to sit. We need to say to evil, stop, or we will extinctify you. They won't stop on their own, my friends. They can't. They can't. And they won't. There was a time, the history books tell me, and my father, rest in peace, tells me, when America would stand up to evil. What the hell happened to us? What happened to us? Now we engage in diplomacy. We funnel billions of dollars to terrorists and terrorist supporters. We recognize evil, but we do nothing. In the confrontation between good and evil, we attempt to be even-handed. What the hell has happened to us? Why are we not outraged that the whores in D.C. aren't fighting the bad guys? Life is not always complex, my friend. Sometimes it's real simple. Someone punches you in the nose, that's about as simple as life gets. When are we going to take action? I'm sorry, I'll say it again. I didn't say it loudly enough. When do we take action against Iran? Do we have to wait, God forbid, for millions of people to be vaporized? Will that be the time for us to act? If there's anyone within the sound of my voice who believes in God, and I don't mean the God who wants you to cut people's heads off. I mean God, the one God. Do you think he wants you to fight against evil and prevent tragedy? I think so. I think that's what God would want us to do. And so we'd better pressure our representatives in D.C. and in our own areas. We want Iran destroyed. Because until it is, my friends, until it is, there will be no real, honest-to-goodness peace. And peace is one of the names of God. We'll be back.
Looking for the perfect answer to your nutrition and health needs? Look no further. BioSuperfood, developed to heal the peoples, animals, and land after the Chernobyl disaster, has the most complete, powerful nutritional analysis for health and wellness. Easy to digest, BioSuperfood contains complete proteins, amino acids, and vitamins A, B complex, B12, C, E, D, and K. It contains minerals and trace elements like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, iodine, manganese, zinc, selenium, silicon, and it provides essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6, and 9. It's high in gamma-linoleic acid and has thousands of active enzymes and phytonutrients like chlorophyll, spirulina, and carotenes. Beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, astaxanthin, lutein, lycopene, quercetin, and much more. Save your money, save your time. Compare, and you'll find that there is no more researched or superior product available on the market today. Call now and get your discount prices on your next BioSuperfood at 303-257-7576, 303-257-7576, or BioSuperfood@hotmail.com. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188.
Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245.
Welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Riell right here, presiding I'm going to turn you over for a few minutes to my buddy Molotov Mitchell, care of WorldNet Daily, who's going to talk to us about the story of socialism with Barack Obama in the White House. You bet this is relevant. Give a listen.
In today's hyper-polarized political culture, we hear a lot about socialism. It's become popular in France. Supermodels love it. Barack Obama's been accused of practicing it. But what is socialism, really? Over the next several episodes, I shall endeavor to answer that very question with vim and verve in The Story of Socialism. You may have heard of or even seen The Story of Stuff, the YouTube phenom created by the Tides Foundation, a left-wing group that has received millions of dollars from George Soros. For the uninitiated, George Soros is the closest thing to Darth Vader we can find in the real world. A radical liberal billionaire, he has toppled governments in other countries and is arguably the most influential person in American politics today. Anyway, he's the guy behind The Story of Stuff, which cleverly makes the case for socialism. But George Soros and the Tides Foundation didn't make this viral video all by their little lonesome. Oh, no. You helped, too. That is correct. You, the American taxpayer. You helped produce this socialist propaganda piece with grants from the Environmental Protection Agency and other governmental departments. Now, to be fair, The Story of Stuff does a decent job at pointing out some of the problems in this, our modern world. Inequalities in financial markets, greed, industrial pollution, runaway idiotic consumerism. But the problem, and it's a doozy, is the filmmakers' proposed plan to fix it all. It's the same tired solution that gets trotted out every so often through the decades by communists on the left as well as fascists on the right, and that is more government. Listen to what the narrator tells us near the beginning of Story of Stuff.
I hold true to the vision and values the government should be of the people, by the people, for the people. It's the government's job to watch out for us, to take care of us. That's their job.
The government's job is to take care of us. That's awfully vague. That's what I would call a loaded statement. Of course, the government does have a rightful role to play in our lives. I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm simply suggesting that the government's role can be summed up in two simple words: punish evil. For example, any entity, whether it be an individual or a corporation, that harms people, that robs people, that intentionally poisons the environment, they should be held accountable under the existing laws, just like any other criminal. We have laws. We just need to enforce them. Even the good book tells us that the government exists to protect the interests of the good and to punish the bad. The problem with The Story of Stuff and socialists in general is that they deify centralized government. They portray government as some incorruptible, glowing force of good, some hovering, all-seeing, benevolent, and wise entity that knows far better how to run our lives than we, the plebes, we, the incompetent individuals. See, socialists don't want decentralized free market businesses running amok. They don't want you making decisions for yourself at all. Remember, it's the government's job to help us. And with that mantra in mind, socialists want centralized government to have the necessary freedom to help us. And how do they accomplish that? Why? Limiting our freedom. Did you catch that? They want the state to serve us by asking that we serve the state. Big brother, take the wheel. And with socialism, the entry-level or soft-core version of Marxism, this is done by having the centralized government hyper-regulate everything. Business, education, healthcare, retirement. They even want the government to regulate what you can and cannot eat. And it's already happened here in America. For example, an individual can hold the title to a manufacturing facility and even the deed for the land upon which it is built. But then the socialist state comes along and puts hundreds of regulations and taxes on the property, the building, and all the business that goes on inside of the building. And the moment that the owners fail to pay any of these taxes or keep up with all of these requirements, then the government can swoop right in and take all of it away. The same rings true for individuals. You can pay off your mortgage, but you won't really own the property. Nope. If you don't pay the taxes on it, the government can foreclose and seize it all. The land, the home, even that cute little feng shui fountain you built in the backyard. Gone. Same goes for your income. If you don't kick up to the federal government, they will shut you down. Now, let me ask you, if the federal government can come in and regularly confiscate percentages of your income, money that you've made with your own hands, then I have to ask, are you truly free? Not okay, not comfortable, not passable. Are you free? How would the Founding Fathers react if somebody tried to threaten them into paying a federal income tax? How would the Founding Fathers respond if somebody threatened them with a lien on their home? How would the Founding Fathers respond if the government tried to garnish their wages for not paying a land tax? We know the answer, because the government did try to take their freedom, and we got 4th of July out of it. Friends, Romans, we do not have freedom. What we have is indentured servitude. We're serfs on some vast federal plantation. I know it is hard to face the facts, but little by little we have given up so many of our freedoms that we have almost become slaves. In fact, the only thing that keeps us from being called slaves is the fact that we still have the right to own weapons. That is the last right to go before a free man is considered a slave. And now you know why socialists are so keen on gun control. My friends Molotov Mitchell, you can find them at WorldNet Daily. You can find this on my Facebook page. He's a good guy, and what he's saying is true and important. Item from Forbes. In what Congressman Baucus called a double dose, Texas Representative Ron Paul grilled Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke on 2 occasions on Tuesday at the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman Paul scolded the Fed chairman for being secretive while claiming that the financial crisis is far from over. Bernanke's visits to Capitol Hill have recently been marked by his exchanges with Ron Paul, a staunch Fed basher who believes in the merits of the gold standard. After facing a relatively tamer Senate Banking Committee, the Fed chairman's feet were held to the fire by Ron Paul and company. While the exchange was rather one-sided, Ron Paul made his points heard. He first criticized the Fed for equivocating independence with secrecy, noticing that the $15 trillion had been used for overseas bailouts during the crisis via currency swaps, which Congress could not monitor. Ron Paul then noted that when Bernanke claims the Fed stands ready to support Europe and other geographies during times of financial and economic crisis, it's actually the American taxpayer that's shouldering the burden. The Fed chairman responded by noting that it is Congress which delegated the responsibility to manage monetary policy to the Federal Reserve. While the Fed chairman sought to avoid engaging Ron Paul, he did show his ideological bent when he told Ron Paul that while Congress could eliminate the statute that makes the Fed an independent body, it would result in a more inefficient central bank and ultimately a worse outcome, unquote. My friends, I'll make it real simple. The Fed needs to die. We'll be back.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution
CINN Stations in Alt salutes our troops. Whether you're for the war or against it, they're still there. These men and women deserve more than our support. They deserve the comfort of home. Send a military care package today. Just type military care package into a search engine. Point and click. Let's show our troops we care. This message from CINN Stations in Alt, wishing Godspeed to our fighting men and women and thanking them for their triumphs and their sacrifices. With the summer months upon us, let's all keep an extra special eye out for our senior citizens. Check on them on a regular basis, especially when the weather is hot. Make sure they have what they need. Someday we'll all be in that position. Wouldn't you like to have someone watch out for you? That's from Brush Housing Authority, reminding listeners, for housing programs, call 970-845-5046. That's 970-845-5046. That's Brush Housing Authority on the air, wishing everyone a great summer season.
My friends, welcome back. This is Howard Riell at Real Truth. For this next item, if there are kids in the room, I want you to send them out. It's very rare that I say something like this, but I want you to send the kids out now. You know, I've always had the highest regard and respect for my listening audience, and I would do nothing to insult you. However, reality is reality. And there are people who want to kill us. And they are very ingenious and creative when it comes to that endeavor. I have a video here on Memory TV that I'm going to play. You can find it on jihadwatch.org. You can find it linked on my Facebook page. This is a London-based Shiite cleric named Abdallah al-Khilaf. Abdallah al-Khilaf. He's not going to be speaking English, so don't worry about him. I'm going to translate, because Memory translated his speech, and I'm going to read it to you. This is from Fadak TV in the United Kingdom via YouTube, dated June 16th, 2012. I hope the kids are out of the room. Okay? I'm going to play this for you because you need to hear it. If you think Muslims are just another group of people and people say terrible things about them and they can't really be as bad as all that, London-based Shiite cleric Abdallah al-Khilaf is about to address the question of sodomy for the sake of Islam. Whether or not sodomy is permitted if it's done in order to kill you and me. I could not make this up, my friends. Go online to Memory, MEMRI.org. Watch it. Go to jihadwatch.org. Go to my Facebook page. I'm going to play it. You'll hear the Arabic in the background, and I will translate. Here we go. Hang on one second. Okay, we're having some trouble with it. First, we'd like to show you a fatwa which appeared on the Lions of Sunnah Internet Forum. One Wahhabi wrote, "Dear Sheikh, may Allah grant you martyrdom and black-eyed virgins in paradise. I wanted to commit a martyrdom operation. I turned to Sheikh Abu Dima al-Kasab, who told me that they had invented a new and unprecedented form of martyrdom operation, explosive capsules inserted into your anus. In order to train for this method of jihad, you must consent to being sodomized for a period of time, so that your anus becomes wider, making room for the explosives. My question is whether I am permitted to allow one of the mujahideen access to my anus if my intentions are honorable. And the purpose is to train for jihad by widening my anus." The Sheikh praised Allah and said, "In principle, sodomy is forbidden. However, jihad is more important. It is the pinnacle of Islam. If sodomy is the only way to reach this pinnacle of Islam, then there is no harm in it. The rule is that necessity makes the forbidden permissible. Something that is required in order to perform a duty becomes a duty in and of itself. No duty takes precedence over jihad. Therefore, you must be sodomized. After you've been sodomized, you must ask Allah for forgiveness. Know, my son, that Allah resurrects the mujahideen on Judgment Day on the basis of their intentions. Allah willing, your intention is to support Islam. May Allah include you among those who heed His call. End of video. My friends, if there are any people out there who are offended, I apologize. Not my intention, and I did give you fair warning. But lest you think that all human beings, all groups of people, all religions are created equal. This guy wants to know if it's permissible for him to allow the mujahideen, the martyrdom fighters, to do what I said, in order so that he may become an even more lethal weapon of homicide. This is what some Muslims talk about when they're amongst themselves. These are the religious questions that some Muslims formulate and ask their clerics. This is what occupies some Muslims' time. Where in their body they can stash explosive devices. I talked before about being a shomer. It's something that everybody should do. I cannot watch a video like this, despite the sensitive subject matter, without putting it before the public. These people are crazy. These people are bloodthirsty. These people are barbarians and savages. They're not like us. They will do anything they're able to murder. They murder because they think God wants them to. They murder because they think there are virgins waiting for them in the afterlife. They murder because Islamic culture has done just about nothing over 1,400 years. And they are envious. Envious of the accomplishments and the lifestyle, not only of Jews, but of Christians, of everyone who's not Muslim. My friends, that's how wacky these people are. Don't underestimate them. Don't think, oh, in the end we'll settle everything we'll live together. These people don't want to live together. They want to die together. And so I played this video for it, and I recommend that you go find it online. Go to memory.org. Go to jihadwatch.org. Go to my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. Find the video. Send the link to everybody you know. We all need to watch it. Item from Ben Shapiro at Breitbart. James O'Keefe's new Project Veritas video is a stunning expose of union corruption surrounding so-called shovel-ready jobs. In typically irreverent Project Veritas style, O'Keefe introduces a new company, Earth Supply and Renewal. What do? O'Keefe explains. First, our excavation specialists insert their shovels in the ground and remove the soil. This presents the problem of an existing hole in the earth. Then there is the renewal process. We train professional backfillers to renew the soil in place of the existing hole. In other words, they dig holes and fill them in. That's Obama's economic policy. We'll be back.
And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, The feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1 through 3.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath. CINN stations in Alt salutes our troops. Whether you're for the war or against it, they're still there. These men and women deserve more than our support. They deserve the comfort of home. Send a military care package today. Just type military care package into a search engine. Point and click. Let's show our troops we care. This message from CINN stations in Alt, wishing Godspeed to our fighting men and women and thanking them for their triumphs and their sacrifices.
Welcome back to Real Truth. Item from Politico by Josh Gerstein. President Barack Obama's Jobs Council hasn't met publicly for 6 months, even as the issue of job creation dominates the 2012 election. At this point, the hiatus, which reached the half-year mark Tuesday, might be less awkward than an official meeting, given the hornet's nest of issues that could sting Obama and the council members if the private sector panel gets together, unquote. My friends, President Obama's Jobs Council hasn't bothered showing up for work. Item from the London Telegraph. Israel's largest party walked out of Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition. The Israeli Prime Minister was forced to consider calling an early general election on Tuesday night after the largest party in the country's parliament walked out of his ruling coalition, unquote. My friends, this is not a bad thing. The government of Israel is a political mafia that is the single greatest threat to the future of Israel. Item from Jacksonville.com. A huge house party broken up by police in North Jacksonville subdivision didn't end there Saturday night, as hundreds of young partygoers ignited a flash mob at the Lem Turner Road Walmart Supercenter. They caused havoc that was recorded and posted on YouTube until Tuesday afternoon, while one person reported being shot during the party. The sheriff's office said the investigations into both are active and ongoing. Related item from WKGW.com, Portland. A group of teens targeted a Troutdale store last weekend in a flash mob, and investigators are trying to identify the suspects. Investigators said as many as 40 kids entered the Albertson store on Southeast Stark Street at the same time late Saturday night and started stealing things. Security officers chased the thieves out, but no one was captured. They also left employees pretty shaken up, including one woman who was in tears after getting terrorized by the robbers. Investigators have not said exactly how many items were taken. Basically, it looks like they went in just to cause chaos, which they accomplished, said Sergeant Steve Bevins of the Troutdale Police Department. Investigators believe the suspects ranged in age from 13 to 15. Stop! A mob breaking into a store, causing havoc, intimidating workers, stealing who knows how much property, ages 13 to 15. My friends, it's a rare day when I side with the New World Order and the elitists and the 1%, the 10th of 1%, who want to control everything we do. But my friends, I have got to tell you, this show is called Real Truth, so I'll give you the real truth. These 13 to 15-year-olds who broke into the store and stole everything they could get their hands on should be caged and controlled. You want to put chips in these people? Do it. You want to monitor them? Do it. You want to listen to their internet communications? Do it. You want to monitor their phones? Do it. And the same for their parents. What can you say about parents whose kids, aged 13 and 15, have no trouble forming a flash mob, stealing and terrorizing? What happened to America, my friends? We are falling backwards. We're circling the bowl. We're lapsing back into a new dark age. Why? Why are we going backwards? Has life been too soft? Are there not enough challenges, not enough books to be read, not enough schools to be studied? My friends, it's very distressing, very, very distressing. If you've got young kids, sit with them, talk to them, parent them, so they don't turn into demons like these. I'll be back tomorrow with more Real Truth. That much I promise. I'll see you then.